Well, hello and welcome back to the final bit of race track action here at Oulton Park. It is slightly clouding over, but it is still actually quite hot. We're here for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series, the third race of 3 this weekend. Ferraris from bygone eras all lining up. We've got several different classes and groups of cars, a Ferrari for everybody in the family, and so far we've seen some very nice clean racing, particularly of course Alan from Wayne Mars.
Yeah, Wayne Mars has been impressive as ever he is. He has won both races, but 2 very different races. We found out at the end of race 2 that started our action here at Oulton Park this morning that he got a 99999 message on the dash, which meant come into pit lane, have the car checked over. The car was okay, but what it then meant was he had to make his way through the field. He did so, and he took the race win, which was mightily impressive. Now, I challenged him because he was very full of the race, thoroughly enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed overtaking, slicing his way through the field. So I said, in which case, why don't you start from the back of the grid for the final race? He's there at the front. So he has not come to the challenge.
He didn't heed that advice. He doesn't want to start at the back, he wants to start right at the front. Well, if you're not familiar with the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic, as we get underway for the formation laps, the green flag flies and they all make their way down to turn 1. It is run as a race series, but it is not a formal championship. Prizes are awarded to class winners on a race-by-race basis, and the series is open to cars built before 1999, and the classes are all intended to encourage close racing between as many types of Ferraris as possible. Indeed, Ferraris ranging from the mid-70s. We've got in Group 2, we have the lightly modified cars up to 3 litres, and they contain the Ferrari 308 GT4s. Then Group 3 is the 328 GTBs, which are unmodified over 3 litres, but on the formation lap, coming a cropper, is car number 46 of Tristan Simpson, and that's the Group 5 car, the F355 Challenge, modified cars over 3 litres, and that front left suspension damage, potentially it's sort of caved in on itself, it's pointing the wrong way, and he's had to pull off onto the grass and has come to a halt.
It's going to be starting alongside pole position Wayne Mars, so that's a huge disappointment. But yeah, the wheel is locked, isn't it? It's not going anywhere.
No, so he'll have to try and find his way back. We might get another formation lap, but we'll wait and see while they deal with Tristan Simpson, who was certainly showing a good turn of pace in the race 2 earlier today, but he's part of the Group 5 gang of cars, the F355 Challenge modified cars over 3 litres. Then we also have the Group 4 cars, which have a really brilliant variety of 328 GTBs, 348 Challenges, 328 GTSs, and the Mondial T car. But let's take you through the grid then. Wayne Mars will line up along pole. He should be alongside Tristan Simpson, but that's the car we just saw pulling off with a locked wheel. Tim Walker will go from 3rd ahead of Vance Kearney, so it's row 1 and 2 filled with F355 Challenge cars. Then in 5th place, Christopher Compton Goddard ahead of Chris Butler in the 328 GTB, showing great pace is Chris Butler ahead of Miles Poulton, and Peter Fisk, who again showing fighting form, going from row 4 and P8 on the grid, just in front of Ray Ferguson in the F355 Challenge Group 5 car, in front of Andy Riddick in 10th with the 328 GTB. Then it's Richard Fenny and William Morwood 11th and 12th, both in 308 GT4s. Tony Claringbould 13th in the Mondial T. Timothy Shearman is 14th, I should say, in the 328 GTB. Claringbould 13th. Then Darren Mills 15th. Colin Sota in 16th. Making up row 8. Mills in the F355 Challenge. Sota in the 348 Challenge car. So a brilliant showcase, especially as we're celebrating 30 years of the Ferrari Challenge cars. And I have a feeling I know which one's your favourite.
Yes. The 308 GT4.
It is the 308 GT4.
It is.
And I don't think Tristan Simpson will be too happy with his F355 Challenge at the moment. He's out of the car and looking a bit forlongingly at that front left tyre and wheel. Hands on his waist as the flatbed truck comes to pick it up. So Simpson, unfortunately, out before the race has even begun, and I imagine we will have another formation lap while they deal with
definitely
this.
so, yeah. The required lift on the car to get it on the back of a flatbed recovery, delayed start board being displayed. So, yep, as you rightly predicted, we've got to get that car out of the way. Huge disappointment for Tristan Simpson, second in the race earlier on today, and unfortunately the car not behaving itself now and requiring a lift back to the paddock. Great shame.
Really is a great shame. Wayne Mars would have been relishing that challenge as well, starting alongside him on pole. Now the white car will be just behind him, but will be the next one on the right-hand side as we look at it. That's Vance Kearney, who has been very racy so far this weekend. It's a really brilliant championship that the Ferrari Owners Club put on here. It's a friendly, relaxed club, about 2,500 members who own a wide range of cars, from the early Ferraris to the latest Ferraris. They're independent but recognised as the Owners Club for the UK, and certainly part of the Ferrari family, with a great relationship with Ferrari North Europe, and certainly loving the chance to get out and race, and that they have done so far this weekend. This was from earlier today, and it was actually Chris Butler who managed to get away ever so well. We found out that Wayne Mars, who started, or should have started on pole, an issue saw him into the pits, and he had it all to do starting from the pit lane. Action further back in the pack as the number 44 Ferrari car being passed. Christopher Compton Goddard struggling to keep pace and stay in front of Vance Kearney. Meanwhile, the number 25 car also doing battle in the 308 GT4 category, the Group 2 cars, and there was Wayne Mars in the number 60, fighting his way through in what was spectacular scenes right at the start. First bit of action and last bit of action for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series so far. The number 27 car of Ray Ferguson in the F355 Challenge, all yellow, getting into the fight. It was certainly a decent fight with the F355 Challenges, and Wayne Mars certainly managed to catch up to Chris Butler in the end. And then Butler full foul to Vance Kearney in the all-white Ferrari Challenge car. And Butler, sadly, after leading this race with a bit of a gap, fell down the order. And once again, Wayne Mars taking yet another win, and a win that he certainly had to fight hard for. He'll be hoping it might be a little easier for him today, but it's still another 20-minute race to deal with.
It was nice to see a second look of race one for us, because armed with the information that we had after the end of the race to know what the problem was for Wayne Mars, and therefore the hill that he was climbing with a car that indicated it was potentially with a problem. It wasn't with a problem, so he was able to then get his head down and scythe his way through the field. Very, very impressive. At the end of lap one, he was down in something like 14th place, and then to win the race with the arm out of the car, you could see just how delighted he was.
Certainly will, as we await not another formation lap, but they'll just the delayed start while they are staying on the grid, while we clear up the stricken Tristan Simpson F355 Challenge car, which unfortunately with a locked tyre is out of this race.
So 1 minute board being displayed, so they've cleared Tristan Simpson's car, which is good news. I reckon they will get another formation lap, or will they? Let's wait and see. They've been there for a little while, haven't they? And certainly the heat that they got into the tyres may well have dissipated by now. So
that's a very good point, actually. As Wayne Mars sits at the front, no one to his left-hand side, gives him a slight advantage going down into turn one. 30 seconds to go until we get back underway in what has been a bit of a delayed few hours here in Oulton Park.
Yep.
And it will be another green flag lap. So it will be another formation lap, as we could see in the pit lane the number 46 car returning on the flatbed truck. And it didn't look like we'd seen any incident, so that might well be a bit of a failure, but certainly not the way he's going. We've also got a car stationary on the grid, and it's one of the Italian flag blue Ferrari cars, the number 44 by the looks of it. Christopher Compton Goddard, who has certainly been up there and challenging for podiums, is managing to get away, but smoke billowing out the back of his exhaust, so that does not look like a particularly healthy start for his campaign. He's looking down in his car at his steering wheel, And
another it's a locked wheel
locked for Christopher Compton Goddard in the same car, F355 Challenge.
Oh dear, and that car is stricken out on the circuit. It's not going anywhere, it's not steering, so it is going to be another delayed start, I fear, because that car needs to be recovered, and that's a great shame because Christopher Compton Goddard has been going very well over the course of these 2 days here at Oulton Park. There is Wayne Mars, needs to go through all of the preparatory actions that he would be doing inside the car, but he might have to do it all over again.
He might well, proving a challenge mentally for these drivers as well to stay in the game and deal with the challenges thrown at them. We're using the full international circuit here at Oulton Park, 2.69 miles, 4.3 kilometres, 17 turns, 11 right and 6 to the left on the grounds of the old Oulton Hall, which burnt down in 1926. This place was then used heavily in the war as an army staging camp before the Mid-Cheshire Car Club developed the track for its first meeting back in 1953, and over those 60 years since, well, Oulton Park has certainly gained a reputation for being one of the toughest tests of driver and car, and one that the drivers all love the challenge of as well. It is tight, it is tricky, it is narrow, it is undulating, lots of blind crests and blind corners, certainly providing a challenge for all of our drivers that have raced here across the weekend.
We talk about this as an old school circuit, and even if you are a modern era driver, I was talking to Rafael Marciello last week, of course at the very pinnacle of global GT racing at the moment in his career, and he said he was envious of drivers that raced in the British GT Championship because they got to race on circuits like Oulton Park and Donington Park and Silverstone and Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit. So even drivers of the modern era are envious of this ability to be able to drive on circuits like Oulton Park. It's a gift to a driver.
It really is, and the drivers here all echoing those sentiments as well, especially those who have come over from Italy as part of the Ferrari Challenge UK, of course. And another delayed start awaits us as they
just wondering,
Christopher Compton Goddard's car, which is still stuck there in turn one.
It is, because I wonder if the flatbed recovery vehicle with the lifting equipment is unloading the first car that had the problem, the car of Tristan Simpson. So we might have to wait until the recovery vehicle is free to come along and give a lift to the 44 car. So apologies everybody, we're not going to get this race underway directly.
But what we are going to do is play you back race 2 in full until we're back ready to go.
Different conditions today as to the ones that we had yesterday.
They certainly are, as they have made their way back rounds and lining up on the grid. Nearly underway for our first bit of racing action this weekend. Of course, the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series supporting the Ferrari Challenge UK.
One peeling off into pit lane, green flag at the back, ready to go.
We are ready to go. I think that same car peeled off yesterday as well to the pit lane right at the end. Hopefully they'll make the start as well. The green flag is flying. There's all eyes to the lights. And foot to the floor as we go racing once more in Oulton Park, and it's a brilliant start from our pole sitter Wayne Mars, making his way down into the braking zone of turn 1. The black Ferrari has managed to get out in front. They all make it nice and safely through the number 25, making its way Richard Fenny round turn 1, navigating the traffic 2. Bit of a lock up there coming into 3 for the one of the red Ferraris out in front. I think that's one of the F355 Challenge cars a bit further up the field. The majority of this field made up of F355 Challenge cars, and a real mix of racing experience with our drivers in the field, some with no racing experience, some with some incredibly professional racing experience, all making sure they handle these Ferraris. They're their own cars, handle them with respect, and and making sure they can really stretch their legs. There's 2 F355 challenge cars, 4 F355 challenge cars start chasing each other down.
And the thing about it, you make a really valid point. These are very cherished cars. They're looked after, they're cared for, they're prepared beautifully. Look how wonderful the field looks at the start of the season. So it's not quite as robust a racing as sometimes we get up and down the UK, because these are valuable cars that they want to look after.
It certainly is. Well, as the starts to settle down at the end of this first lap, it's actually Butler who has managed to get out in front. Chris Butler in the 328 GTB ahead of Walker and Simpson. So it's the number 5 car out in front at the moment. That is the black car, the 328 GTB, ahead of the number 73. That is Timothy Walker in the F355 challenge car. So that is the battle up front at the moment. Meanwhile, 2 battles going on between the number 73. This is Tim Walker, and I think just making defensive moves to try and keep Simpson behind. Simpson might well have just got through in the other F355 challenge car as they come across the main straight. We'll have a look and see which car is out in front. It's the number 46, so Tristan Simpson has got through. Walker struggling a little bit to keep that car on the road in the optimal racing line, coming under a bit of pressure, but Simpson now up and away and trying to hunt down Butler. And we've had one car down into pit lane. It's the 56 car, Peter Mosley's car, so that's one of the cars from Group 2. It's a 308 GTB, and it's currently down in pit lane. It's just come to the end of pit lane. I didn't see whether it's gone back out on circuit, but 56 car. Certainly is. Some decent headway made on the first lap. Miles Poulton making up 7 positions. He's currently in 6th in the number 28 car as well. Wayne Mars, yesterday's race winner, losing, I should say, 8 spots. So really not the best start for yesterday's pole sitter and yesterday's race winner. He's currently down in 9th in the number 60 car. That's a F355 challenge as they navigate their way through the chicane. The number 73 leading this little trio of cars coming downhill now. That's Tim Walker, currently in 3rd position, coming under pressure from the number 44 car. That is Christopher Compton Goddard. It's an F355 challenge trio, and then just behind them it's the all-white Vance Kearney car. Another F355 challenge, proving they can certainly still race around here, and it's actually Walker who's just pulling a little bit of a gap now to Goddard and Kearney. Goddard now having to look a little bit more into his mirrors in the blue Ferrari F355 challenge car with the Italian flag adorned down the middle, being chased by the white car of Vance Kearney. 15 minutes and 53 seconds on the clock, and actually Goddard has managed to catch back up to Timothy Walker as we start another lap down the main straight. It is still Butler out in front. He's pulled a gap of 3.5 seconds ahead of Simpson, Walker, Goddard, Kearney, the top 5, Mars, Poulton, Fisk, Mosley, Riddick, the top 10, Ferguson, Morwood, Benny, Mills, Claringbould, the top 15, then it's Shearman, Sota and Mosley, last of the registered runners in 18th. Exceptionally close racing. Fastest lap of the race has been put in, perhaps not unsurprisingly, by the number 60 car, the race winner from yesterday, Wayne Mars, currently in 6th place at the end of 2 laps, 1:58.586. So that's the only sub 2-minute lap. Very, very brisk indeed. Remember we said that they look after their cars, and the racing is not robust, so they want to look after the cars. It is still exceptionally close, isn't it? The 2 308 GT4s battling away, so there are battles right the way down the order. They've got 4 groups as we've described, all with varying amounts of power. Welcome back to Oulton Park. We're back underway after a bit of a delayed start, just showing you some highlights from earlier on today with that racing action, and we're hoping we're about to get the final bit of race action courtesy of the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series, which now make their way round on the green flag lap after a couple of F355 challenge cars suffering wheel locking issues. So 2 cars out at turn 1 on the formation lap. So fingers crossed, third time's the charm, and we'll get going again as Wayne Mars was going ever so slowly on the formation lap and is falling down the pack because Walker in the number 73 has just taken over in the lead. But if we can get a look at the number 60 to see where Wayne Mars has, because he was supposed to be starting on pole position, but unless my eyes really are deceiving me, I very much saw him falling down the pack. There he is in another F355 Challenge car, going slowly, but he's picked up speed again and continues to make his way around, but there's something not right with that car.
Your eyes do not deceive, yeah. So drama once again. Drama first thing this morning. The car had to come into the pit lane because there was a message on screen that there was something wrong with the car, and now it doesn't need a message on the screen. There is definitely something wrong with the car. Comes to a stop, seems to have locked, gets going, no, frustration in the cockpit of the car, and that is significant. Winner of both races over the course of 3 races this weekend here at Oulton Park, and the rescue team go over and see if they can lend assistance, find out exactly what the problem is, but that is very bad news for Wayne Mars.
Well, 3 cars out and we haven't turned a single racing lap at the moment, so it's not been the perfect start for the final race here for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series. The race time has been reduced at the moment to 18 minutes, down from 20. We'll see what occurs in the rest of this formation lap, but I imagine unless Wayne Mars can get going again, it might well be another delayed start. But Wayne Mars in his F355 Challenge car has stopped on the 3rd formation lap we have seen here. So now leading and sitting at the front of the grid, although he won't be officially on pole, will be that Tim Walker in the number 73 F355 Challenge in front of Vance Kearney in the all-white number 8 Ferrari F355 Challenge car.
I said to Wayne Mars after race 2, did you get up this morning and predict that that was the kind of race that you were going to be having? Could say the same to Tim Walker. Did you predict that for the final race you'd be starting on what effectively is pole? Another delayed start board, not surprisingly, because Wayne Mars' car needs to be recovered. Wayne just explaining to the rescue crew down there, the fire crew that are based down there, just having a discussion. They indicate to Wayne to step away from the car because the car is going to require a recovery.
It certainly is. Out of the car, chatting to the rescuers, and we're back to another delayed start. But in which time, we'll go back to our race 2 highlights from earlier on. We have about 14.5 minutes of that race to run when we last left it. With his mechanics and engineers back in the pit lane, so he was making a bit of progress, but has had to come in. Meanwhile, back out on track, as you allude to, Alan, the 308 GT4 cars doing battle in Group 2. It's Richard Fenny in the number 25, battling with William Morwood in the number 29, just behind him as well. Morwood did look like he was right on the rear of Fenny at one point, and he's just eased off ever so slightly as they make their way through the chicane and out once more. The sunlight glistening off of the front ends of all of these cars. Beautiful sunshine.
I remember when you could buy a 308 GT4 for a very reasonable, probably just sub £10,000 you could buy a 308 GT4. I'm going back to the 1980s.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you'd be able to do that now.
You most certainly would not. No. And if you had have done, it would have been a jolly good investment.
Well, it certainly would have been, wouldn't it? Wayne Mars making his way around now, so he's just managed to get out of the pit lane, it seems, and able to carry on going. Still a car in pit lane, though, so a couple of cars not being able to make the start, sadly. Sota and Mosley down as not having made the start on our timing screens. Wayne Mars has now worked his way up to 5th after a bit of a poor start, so I wonder if that was Mars in the pit lane earlier. It might have been somebody else. We've still got a car in the pit lane, but out on track, a battle brewing once more. It's the number 73 in the F355 Challenge car. It's Tim Walker being hunted down by that number 60 car. It is Wayne Mars in the red and white F355 Challenge. The battle for 3rd at the moment, this is. So Timothy Walker coming under a little bit of pressure here for that final overall podium spot. Butler and Simpson have detached themselves ever so slightly. Butler leading this race with a 2.3-second gap ahead of Simpson. And then comes this battle that we're enjoying now, 12.5 minutes on the clock.
This march up through the field for number 60, race winner from yesterday, Wayne Mars. Wonderful pictures with the sunshine looking down. This really is the most beautiful circuit that you can possibly hope to go to in the UK. And when the sunshine comes out and you've got blue skies, goodness me, it is nature and motor racing all together. Every single part of the Oulton Park circuit is not only a challenge for the driver, but also an incredibly beautiful scene. And here we go. We've got this battle up through the order for the number 60 car. Needs to very, very careful, just picking the point at which a challenge is mounted for the race winner from yesterday towards the completion of now lap number 4.
Wayne Mars all over the back of Tim Walker for third as they make their way down into turn 1. Wayne Mars has a look down the inside, makes his presence very much known. Tim Walker shuts the door. Great battling here between the two F355 Challenge Ferraris, and while they do battle, they're bringing Goddard in the blue Challenge car back into the fight. Mars all over the back of the number 73 Walker car. It's 73 in front ahead of 60. It's Walker ahead of Mars in the battle of third overall as they continue this battle too. Another one brewing in front of them. The 27 Ferrari car is making its way down the inside of the 88. That's Ray Ferguson down the inside of Andy Riddick. And that move has been made and away Ferguson goes.
And a lap completed. So, as we say, there are battles right the way down the order with 4 different classes. We've got class battles right the way down the order. We've also got the battle for the lead as well. 0.4 of a second the advantage for number 5, race leader. And as they have now completed 4 laps, this is the race leader now.
It is, certainly. You say the gap, it's really closed down. You have to say it was a couple of seconds Butler had on Simpson. So Simpson has managed to make incredible gains. Butler currently out leading the way in his 328 GTB in the Group 3 category. Is being hunted down by Tristan Simpson in the F355 Challenge in the Group 5 car. So 2 different groups going on here, but they're fighting for the overall lead of this race with 10 minutes to go on the clock. Simpson has absolutely hunted down Butler. Meanwhile, in the background as well, Mars still all over the back of Walker. So the battle for first, second, third and fourth very much on here this morning with 9 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. I think it looks like Simpson is lining up a move down the main straight. He gets alongside Butler. It's the red Ferrari on the inside into turn 1, down into the braking zone. The 46 car gets through on the number 5. That is a change for position and a change in overall leader. It is now Tristan Simpson leading this race ahead of Chris Butler. An F355 Challenge ahead of a 328 GTB.
And we're into the second half of the race now. We've got this battle which is closing up between the not only the top 2 but potentially the top 4 as well. So the way this is beginning to pan out, the last few laps of this race could be an all-out dash for the 3 podium positions, which is just brilliant. If you bear in mind how historic these cars are, how many years they have done on racetracks up and down the country, they are racing absolutely beautifully.
And I imagine all the drivers are absolutely loving the chance to race in these beautiful conditions as well. We'll have a little look now at that battle.
Than yesterday,
much nicer than yesterday. They were teetering round in the rain yesterday. Brilliant blue skies and sunshine today. It's actually a little bit hot. We've had to take our coats off in the commentary box.
I know.
It's all changed, isn't it? But still not quite changed yet for that position. For the overall podium in third, Tim Walker just hanging on ahead of Wayne Mars in the number 60. It's 2 F355 Challenge cars. A third one, if you bring along Goddard in the blue Challenge car too, who's just about hanging with them. And Vance Kearney in 6th behind them as well. So it could end up being actually a little bit of a quartet battle over this final podium position.
I think it will be. We've got 8 minutes left on the clock for race 2. They've got another race at the end of this afternoon to look forward to as well. And thus far, we've had so many elements of this race that are fascinating to watch how they're going to unfold in the final 8 minutes of the race. Up towards the line they come, and Wayne Mars just having a look. He's right there, ever so close, couldn't be any closer. And as they go side by side, they complete now 6 laps of the race. Just got a nose in front, but traffic is going to play a part as well. It has done, and that's job done for Wayne Mars.
He is through. Wayne Mars up to third. Traffic management proving a massive challenge here as they navigate their way through some of the lapped cars, but it's Simpson leading ahead of Butler, now ahead of Walker, still registered in third, so he's got back through on Mars in the number 44 car. And Goddard has actually really caught up to the back of the number 44 car of the 73 of Walker. So Mars, yes, now up into third, as you say, ahead of Walker, who is now coming into the clutches of the blue F355 challenge car.
Yeah, there's no rest, is there?
Once one move done, it's the domino effect, isn't it? They all come through.
You deal with one battle and then you've got another battle to fight as well. So 6 minutes and a half just over of the race remaining, and once again the 73 car of Tim Walker has got to be careful being challenged.
Now that's another move. That's Wayne Mars making his way through on the number 5 car of second place, Chris Butler. So Wayne Mars, now he's up and running. He's just set the fastest lap of the race despite making moves as well. And with 6 minutes just on the clock to go, Wayne Mars has got himself up into second spot. Back to live pictures here at Oulton Park, and fingers and toes crossed, everybody. We can get underway finally. The race for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series, the third and final race of the weekend, is hopefully about to get underway for another green flag lap after a couple of issues for a few cars on these formation laps. They have been lifted away on the flatbed truck. The green flag flies and we are ready for another formation lap, but we have lost our pole sitter and our second place in qualifying driver, so it's an all-new front row.
It is. Tim Walker and Vance Kearney inherit the front row of the grid. We've lost Wayne Mars, winner of both of the races so far this weekend. We've lost Tristan Simpson, who would have been lining up alongside. And from a couple of rows back, we've lost Christopher Compton Goddard, which was the first of the cars, the second of the cars that we lost. So yeah, 3 delayed starts. It's pretty rare that we get that. As a result of that, we have a foreshortened race, so we have now just 15 minutes for the race instead of the scheduled 20 minutes for the race. Bear in mind as well, one of the reasons for that is that the cars will be fueled to do the distance, and they have done extra warming up laps, they've done extra green flag laps, so that's one of the reasons why we have the shortening of the distance. Initially it was shortened by 2 minutes, and now it's been shortened by 5 minutes in total, so they've all got enough fuel to get to the end of the race.
Certainly so. We'll give you a recap of the types of cars we will see in this field. In Group 2, we have the lightly modified cars up to 3 litres, the Ferrari 308 GT4s. Group 3 sees the unmodified cars over 3 litres, the 328 GTB cars. And Group 4, the lightly modified cars over 3 litres, the Ferrari 328 GTB, the 348 Challenge, the 328 GTS, and the Mondial T. And then Group 5 will see the modified cars over 3 litres, which consists entirely of F355 Challenge Ferrari cars. So a real eclectic mix up and down the grid of Ferraris gone by, all the way from the mid-70s to the more modern era. Certainly a spectacle if you are a Ferrari fan, and if you are a Ferrari fan, well, you come to the right place here at Oulton Park. And race 3 so far about to get underway, the formation lap going fairly well.
Certainly is, and they're doing the job that they have done a few times before this afternoon, which is to get the tyres up to temperature, the brakes and the engine all working at operative temperature to get this race underway. And thus far, looks as if this formation lap is going according to plan. So we'll have the 73 car of Tim Walker lining up alongside the number 8 car of Vance Kearney, and they bring the pace down to form up on the grid. We've not had any indication of a problem for any one of the grid on this formation lap, so this is good news. Looks as if we are about to go racing.
It certainly will be. There'll be a couple of gaps on the grid. As you say, Tim Walker will be the first of the cars on row 3 ahead of Vance Kearney in the all-white Ferrari. As they line up behind them should have been Christopher Compton-Goddard. He is now no longer there, so it'll be straight back to the all-black Chris Butler Ferrari ahead of Miles Poulton and Peter Fisk in row 8. But the first row, which has now become row 3 on the left-hand side, will be the red Ferrari of Tim Walker. On the right-hand side will be the white Ferrari of Tristan Simpson. 5 seconds to go here in Oulton Park for the final race. It is all eyes to the lights, and it will be foot to the floor for these Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic cars. Race 3 is underway. It's a good start from Tim Walker. Vance Kearney a little bit slow to react. He's fallen into the clutches of Chris Butler, but the gap maintaining, all playing fairly nicely coming through into the first corner. Peter Fisk and Ray Ferguson finding their way through in an F355 challenge right at the back of the pack, navigating the traffic.
Vance Kearney just having a little look down on the inside as they go on to the long run at Lakeside to take them to the furthest extremity of the circuit. But a good start by Tim Walker. Maybe not the start of the race that he would have predicted, leading the race, and with the likes of Wayne Mars and Tristan Simpson ahead on the original grid, it might have been that Tim Walker was thinking about slotting in behind them and seeing how it panned out over the opening lap. Well, he's leading and having to defend because Vance Kearney is right there. The two of them are very, very close indeed now, aren't they?
They certainly are as they make their way through the chicane. It's the F355 challenge car, the number 73 of Tim Walker in front. He's a fully licensed motorsport instructor here at Oulton Park, so he knows this track well. He's going nearly side on with Vance Kearney in the white F355 challenge car. It'll be Walker who has the inside line. Kearney will have the better run through the corner and on exit. How much traction can he get? It all evens out at the moment as they make their way through the right-hander, but Kearney certainly all over the back of Tim Walker in the fight for the win here with this shortened race. Just under 13 and a half minutes to go. Tim Walker leading the way. Vance Kearney just sticks his nose out as Chris Butler watches on a little bit further back in third.
Yeah, the gap is waxing and waning, isn't it, between the two, and is that Chris Butler in third place that's got a grandstand view of this battle in front, maybe hoping that their battle is going to get oh so close and then could pick up a position or two as the course of the race pans out. But at the moment we're enjoying this battle between the two of them because they are absolutely tied together. There we go, first lap in the book. Has a look down at turn 1.
He certainly does. Kearney down the inside into turn 1, makes it stick, hugs the apex and is through. Kearney to take the lead, but Walker is coming back at him on the run down to turn 2 and 3. Kearney just about holding out in front for the moment, having to take the slight defensive line, but the gap already opening up hugely to Vance Kearney out in the lead now in front of Tim Walker. It's the white F355 challenge car ahead of the red F355 challenge car for 1 and 2.
Was looking very, very challenging for the whole of the opening lap, and you now rather think that that was carefully calculated to all come down to turn 1 on the start of the second lap. So Vance Kearney now is our race leader. What can Tim Walker do about not letting him get away? Because to keep as close as you possibly can, we've seen it with Wayne Mars. Once Wayne Mars gets an advantage at the front of the field, that pays off when you get into the traffic in the closing stages of the race. And at the moment it looks as if Vance Kearney has done exactly that. He's already put daylight between himself and Tim Walker.
11.5 minutes of this race remaining. Kearney leads ahead of Walker and Butler. Then it's Poulton, Fisk and Sota. This little gaggle of cars coming through on screen right now. Riddick in 8th, Benny 9th, and Morwood the top 10. Claringbull, Shearman, Goddard 13th. So Goddard might well have been able to get up and running. Potentially, he's on the graphics, but I wonder if that's correct. But right now we're seeing the midfield battle. Sota in 6th has made up a huge amount of positions. He's made up 9 positions so far, in thanks to a couple of the retirements in the formation lap. But certainly we're seeing the number 30 car fighting it out right now. That is Peter Fisk, who won on race 1 in his category, and certainly chasing down his rival Ferrari in front.
So it is once again the same as we had in Ferrari Challenge earlier on. We have battles right the way down the order, and with those 4 groups that are represented on the field of classic Ferraris this weekend, they all have something to battle for, the honours in their respective groups. So it's great to see the cars of different eras, and they might not be battling for the overall race win, however they are battling for group honours as well, and that's right the way down the order. So 4 groups represented. I think there'll be 5 groups in total, but we don't have anyone from Group 1, which would be the unmodified cars up to 3 litres. The first group that we've got is the Group 2 cars, which is the 2 308 GT4s that we've got and the 1 308 GTB. That is the car from Group 3, and that's the car of Peter Fisk. Had a little moment in race 1 yesterday, had a little half spin in conditions that were very, very different to the glorious conditions that we've got now.
Certainly so, having a great little ding-dong of a battle with Sota behind him and Poulton in front. He's in a bit of a sandwich, but he's mainly having to look into his mirrors because Ferguson is all over the back of Soto, who is all over the back of Fisk as well. So he's holding up a couple of cars behind him as they make their way through the chicane and round once more the number 30 car, Peter Fisk, in 5th overall. Downhill they go.
I think Wayne Mars has just left the pit lane. I think that was Wayne Mars' car that we just saw, just heard it in the background, a car firing up in pit lane, and I think he's out on circuit.
I think you're absolutely right. On our timing screens, it's registered he's doing an outlap, so they've managed to fix something and get him back out there. But he is now, will be a couple of laps down, but Wayne Mars is fast, out on track 2, fast action taking place. Peter Fisk and Soto once again going side by side briefly. Soto just has to tuck back in. Can't make anything work yet. Ferguson watching in the yellow Ferrari behind them, just keeping an eagle eye on things and how they pan out. Fisk 5th, Soto 6th, Ferguson 7th.
And the leaders are through. 3 laps are completed now. Kearney, the race leader, has the fastest lap of the race on that lap, and it's on the previous lap, in fact. 2 minutes 00553. The race leader with the fastest lap of the race on the lap that he took the race lead. Now, that is a double winner out of the 2 races that we've had completed so far this weekend. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to win this race. However, if the car is back to normal health, we might see some quick laps coming in from Wayne Mars. On the previous race, he was able to work his way through from the back of the grid. How do we think the car is looking? This is only an outlap from pit lane.
Well, it seems like it's responding to where he wants it to turn. So far, so good for Wayne Mars. Battles brewing at the front though. Vance Kearney, the gap was down to under 0.3 of a second, and you can see how visibly close it is between Vance Kearney in the white Ferrari F355 Challenge, currently leading in front of Tim Walker in second in another F355 Challenge. Walker hounding down Kearney. These two haven't been able to take the win so far this weekend, and now with many of their main rivals taken out in that formation lap with those retirements, has given them the opportunity to fight for this win outright. And so far Kearney holding on to that spot, about 6/10 between them now.
And as they go up the hill, part of the features of Oulton Park that drivers like so much, the undulations of the circuit, not only the challenging corners, but also the fact the circuit, up and down it goes. And this battle for the lead, a great battle to watch, with Vance Kearney planning that opening lap and making his move for the lead at the end of lap 1 and into the start of lap 2. Now has his mirrors increasingly full, little puff of smoke up towards the line and the completion of another lap. That's going to be 4 laps in the book for Vance Kearney, but he's going to have to pay careful attention to the mirrors because the gap 0.4 of a second at the conclusion of lap number 4.
Further back in the pack, this squabble over 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th still rages on. 6.5 minutes remain here of the final race of the Ferrari Pirelli Formula Classic Race 3, supporting the Ferrari Challenge UK this year. It's a great calendar for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series as well. We go to Snetterton at the end of May, and then Donington Park at the end of June, Anglesey at the end of July, and then Brands Hatch for the Festival Italia in the middle of August, and then back at Brands at the start of September. Ferguson having a look down the inside of Peter Fisk. In the yellow Ferrari is Ferguson, and the slightly grey tinted Ferrari is positions. Peter Fisk currently occupying 6th and 7th, the number 30 and the number 27 Ferrari cars, and they are actually catching Miles Poulton now in the number 28 Ferrari, who's currently in 5th, and he's driving a 328 GTS.
What would you like to know about Wayne Miles? Well, the car is still going. That's good news. He has now, on his first flying lap during this race, put in a fastest lap of the race. I was going to say he's gone purple in sectors 1 and 2. He adds to that sector 3 and puts in a 1:58.218. So Wayne Miles' car, I think we can safely say, is working just fine.
Well, he was a minute and 21 off the back of the last car. He's now 7.3 seconds off the back, so he has certainly found a huge amount of pace, and he's been so competitive all weekend long. How high can he climb in just under 5 minutes? We'll have to wait and see. I think you're right, Alan. I don't think he'll be quite topping the timing screens within 4 minutes and 48 seconds, but it will certainly be fascinating to watch his progress. And there he is, Wayne Miles in the number 60, red and white F355 challenge car. Now just 2.3 seconds off the back of Shearman for 12th place, really fighting his way through the field. Tried to get back up to speed after an issue on his formation lap. Saw him go to the pit lane and a bit of work done. Out 2 laps later, and here he is now catching on to the back of Shearman.
I think if I chat to him after this race in Parc Ferme, I might have to say I was only joking, you know, starting with the back of the grid. Plus 2 laps.
Exactly. I'm not sure he would have would have really wanted that in an ideal world, but if you want a challenge thrown at you, he certainly has had one of them. Wayne Miles now really onto the back of Shearman, further back in the pack. Further up in the midfield, this battle rages on for 5th overall. Poulton, Fisk and Ferguson. One by one, they go through the lake to their left as they approach the hairpin. The 28 Ferrari leading this gaggle of cars. Poulton in a 328 GTS, then comes Fisk, who looks like he's a little bit closer in the 328 GTB this time around. He's detached himself a bit from the yellow F355 challenge car of Ferguson, so is Fisk trying to line up a bit of a move here, coming into the last few minutes of this race.
Yeah, so we are well and truly into the final third of the race with 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the race remaining. Great battle race long this has been, hasn't it? Bouncing over the curbs is the 28 car of Miles Poulton in 5th place at the moment, with an eye, and a fairly careful eye, to the mirrors, because right there is Peter Fisk. Dropped back a little bit on this section, but into braking. They all 3 close up. Peter Fisk is the meat in the sandwich. He's endeavouring to attack to make up a place, but he can't afford to leave a door open because Ferguson right there behind. So the trio, they all mount Clay Hill now, 3 as 1.
It's a classic feature, it seems, of Oulton Park. If you find yourself in a trio battling and you're in the middle, it's eyes to the front and eyes behind you as well, because you cannot afford to make one mistake, because that can really set you back a long old way. So far, Poulton holding out. Fisk has now fallen back ever so slightly into the clutches of Ferguson, who is trying to find a way through. He might have to do it the long way round, the outside. Can he do the up and under and cut back on Peter Fisk coming up to the uphill run on the grid? How good a run can he get? He's going to swoop round the outside. That'll become the inside. Can he get alongside? Down into turn 1 they go. It is Poulton ahead of Fisk, who's forced to the outside. Can Ferguson bully him off the racing line? Not quite. He's certainly showing himself in that yellow F355 challenge though, but Fisk holds out for a couple more corners yet.
I'll give you a little Wayne Miles update. Not happy with having the fastest lap of the race, the only sub 2 minute lap of the Oulton Park circuit. He's got a 1:58.218. He's gone purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2, and I reckon he'll probably go purple in sector 3 and better his time. And he did. So 1:58.084.
Certainly doing himself no bad deeds at all, although fortunately there's a couple laps down, so he can get close to some cars in front of him and overtake them, but he will be having to unlap himself as well. So it will be a long 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining for Wayne Miles, but happy to get that car fixed and back out on the track as well. Martin Kearney now leads up front by 1.2 seconds with a minute remaining ahead of Tim Walker and Chris Butler. Sota is fourth, a bit detached and on his own, and then comes this battle for fifth overall. It's Poulton, Fisk and Ferguson coming through the chicane. Poulton, the red Ferrari car, out in front, Ferguson in the middle, and then it's Riddick a little bit detached from them as well. But this battle still brewing on to the Oulton Park Bridge. They go. 30 seconds remaining on the clock, so this should be the final lap. Depends where Vance Kearney is on the track at the moment. Half a second though the gap now between 1 and 2 between Walker, so he's bringing that down, but time is running out, and running out indeed for Peter Fisk to try and either make a move on Miles Poulton or keep himself in front of Ferguson. As they come across the line, they will start their final lap as the clock counts down. And the checkered flag will now come out and await Vance Kearney as we start the final lap here at Oulton Park. It's the last bit of racing action for this weekend, what has been an intense weekend of Ferrari action too, with the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Racing Series supporting the Ferrari Challenge UK this weekend. And that battle at the front really is still brewing on this final lap. Half a second, Walker trying to find a way through, trying to get a nose in front. Kearney sees him coming, takes to the inside line to defend, going through the chicane. Can Walker close up under braking ever so slightly? He's running out of corners to do it. Kearney needs to keep it nice and tidy into this last rundown around Oulton Park. A great competitive relationship with all the drivers up and down this grid. They love being able to come and race their Ferraris and put them through their paces and give them the full lease of life that they absolutely deserve. Kearney out in front in the all-white F355 Challenge, being chased by Tim Walker, who is trying everything to get past him in these final few corners. He takes a big outside line to sweep in through the final corner, but it's not enough at the moment. Vance Kearney will cut across the line and take the checkered flag to take the win here in Oulton Park for race 3 of the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic, just ahead of Walker. Chris Butler will come home in third, slightly detached from the top two, and it looks like Sota in fourth. Then there was this battle which rages on still. Poulton out in front ahead of Fisk and Ferguson. Unless there could be any major moves done in these final few corners, it might well end that way. They have been tooth and nail throughout the majority of this very short 15-minute race. The races in total are 20 minutes, but of course, due to our truncated and issue-ridden formation laps, shortened to 15. Cutting across the line, though, Poulton holds out to take fifth overall, just ahead of Fisk and just ahead of Ferguson, but that was close at the very end. A nice battle for those three. I think they'll be very happy with that as the sun beats down on Oulton Park and the checkered flag flies, and Vance Kearney, well, he made the best of what he had, and very much benefited off of those who didn't quite have what they needed. Vance Kearney, your Pirelli Formula Ferrari Classic Race 3 winner. Wayne Mars did manage to set the fastest lap time overall by quite some margin, a couple of seconds in it, a 1:58.084 in the end. Still a couple of laps down, sadly, after his issues on the formation lap. So you have to say, well, if Wayne Mars had been able to start from pole, what could have been? But that is racing, and that is what happens. You have to deal with these issues when they arise, but excellent racing as ever. Respectable, clean and enjoyable from these Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic races. "17 races in total make up the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series, and these are 1, 2 and 3 done, and there's confirmation of your winner. Vance Kearney ahead of Tim Walker, and the Chris Butler car in third. The winner in the Group 3 class. The winner in the Group 4 class was Colin Sota, fourth overall. Miles Poulton. Peter Fisk, the winner in Group 3, sixth overall, ahead of Ferguson. Andy Riddick, Richard Benny, who won out in Group 2, finished 9th overall, ahead of William Morwood, who rounds out the top 10 overall. And then it will be Tony Claringbould, Timothy Shearman, and Wayne Mars, registered at 13, 2 laps down. We lost Tristan Simpson and Christopher Compton Goddard due to wheel locking issues for both of those cars on their green flag formation lap. That is the picture we are left with, the picturesque Oulton Park, just next to the village of Little Budworth. 13 miles from Chester city centre, and what a race it has been. Let's take a look back, shall we, at some of the action that we just seen when we did eventually get underway. Of course, Vance Kearney managed a better start off the line compared to his rival, but he just had to sit behind Tim Walker for a little bit and keep pace. Vance Kearney in the white Ferrari following the red Ferrari of Tim Walker, both in F355 challenge cars. Then Vance Kearney managing to get alongside and down through into turn one, and off he goes. He kept it tight though, and Tim Walker certainly didn't let him walk away with it, just a few tenths of a second in the end. A big battle brewing in the middle of the pack though. This was between Chris Butler initially before he detached himself, and it became a three-way battle between Miles Poulton, Peter Fisk and Ray Ferguson in the yellow Ferrari, fighting it out for class honours and overall. And then Wayne Mars eventually getting going, our pole sitter, who had to come into the pits after he stopped out on track. They managed to fix whatever issue befitted him, and away he went, and setting the fastest lap time to boot as well. But sadly, a couple of laps down, so he's not able to repeat his 2 race wins from yesterday and this morning. He'll be ready to fight next time out in Snetterton. However, action all the way through. Brilliant to see such iconic Ferrari cars on display from the mid-70s to the modern era as well, as the checkered flag flew, and it was an F355 challenge 1-2 with Vance Kearney taking his first win of the season ahead of Walker and Butler. Drivers, windows down, waving away to the fans. Thank you so much for coming out to Oulton Park, enjoying the weather as well, and I believe we can now go down to Alan on the grid. We're in the pit lane, I should say.
Got a very happy winner with me, Vance. Many congratulations. I dare say you didn't wake up and predict that that was going to be the final race of the day.
No, I was a bit surprised. First we got one delayed start and one person.
That's enough.
One drops out. Then we have another. I think we had 3 in the end. I thought, at this rate, I'm either going to break down or I'm going to win it by default. You know, one of the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a good race with Tim in the end. That was. But I was determined to get it today.
So you planned the opening lap, and the start of the second lap was the perfect overtake, wasn't it?
Well, there's not many places you can overtake round here, so if you see a chance, you just got to take it. You know, you might not get another one, so if you see one, take it. It may not come back.
With the cars sitting there on the grid, I was beginning to worry, because these aren't brand new cars, are they?
No, 1995, exactly, and they've been racing for 30 years plus, so incredible cars.
Was it getting warm?
It was getting hot on the grid. I had a water temperature warning light. It was up at 113, and I was waiting for the marshal. I'm like, please wave the flag and let's go. And on the last green flag lap, it cooled down, thankfully. So when we eventually got to the real start, it was okay. I was relaxed.
Well, Vance, you're a winner of race 3 of the weekend. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Absolutely brilliant. Vance Kearney wins the final race of the weekend for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic.